No, I'm not, because I already hit record, so we're just going to go into it. Oh, I'm drinking a Bloody Mary, by the way, because I no longer have any ice in my house, and I was not about to drink warm bourbon.
Why not warm yourself up?
I have a Bloody Mary.
All right.
Let's petition to rename the podcast Bloody Marys in Baseball. Anyways, so good evening, baseball fans. Today is, December 27th. It is a Tuesday, and this is episode 20. I'm Suzy. That is Shelby. If you are watching on YouTube, you will see our illustrious guest, Aram, who we attempted to have on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but due to some technical difficulties, it didn't happen. So you will hear Aram's voice in just a second, maybe, hopefully. No? Okay, good.
I didn't know if that was my cue or not. Yeah, I'm excited to be on with stable Wi-Fi. Appreciate you guys having me on. Really excited to go through some predictions and a lot of fun topics. So I think it's a crazy concept. I really respect it and appreciate it. But the idea of drinking while having a mic in front of me with the record button on is a crazy, crazy concept. But I will behave. And I love the confidence that you all have in your filters and in your ability to stay on course or not with alcohol, microphones, and cameras all mixed.
This is why the show works, Aram, because we are the rules, and basically we have none. As for filters, I'm pretty sure that at some point when we actually do have some sort of intro whatever, it will have some sort of warning label on it.
Hey, they gave the Just Baseball show the explicit tag. I didn't do that.
You dropped some F-bombs, which,
I don't know. That we drop a few here and there. It's not too bad, but it was funny.
That's okay.
I'm used to seeing the explicit tag on, my favorite, hip hop albums or rap albums or whatever. It was just funny. I go to see our podcast and I see the little explicit next to it. I was like, really? And then I thought about it and I was like, that makes sense. But
you're like, yes,
No, it's good. It's unfiltered. It's fun, and definitely excited to talk to you, ladies.
Yeah, we enjoy it. We enjoy it here. The whole bourbon and baseball / experience. Really, it was alcohol and Astros or bourbon and baseball. Like those were the two title choices because we enjoy alliteration. And Shelby picked bourbon and baseball.
Yeah, I love the Astros, obviously, but I love baseball in general. Like, I like to keep up with everything. And, like, when we start talking about these picks, I'm sure Suzy's going to hear some of my picks. It's just going to be like, who? What? Like, curveballs coming left and right. 24 curveballs in a row coming, Suzy. Be prepared.
I'm excited. Okay, so how was your Christmas, though, guys? Like, was it delightful? Was it?
It's good. It was good. Nice and relaxing. Spent some time with my mom and my family, which I always enjoy, and was one of the few times I could really, even when I feel like I'm unplugging and taking the day off or whatever, there's always stuff going on in the baseball world, especially in the off season, especially in the winter. But it was nice to kind of know, hey, I don't need to check Twitter. Nothing's going to happen with Correa on Christmas. Nothing's going to happen anywhere. And I could just, really unplug and enjoy my family and friends. And that was nice. And I kind of just, feel more rejuvenated coming back into it, just even after a few days off, just get that excitement to record again, get that excitement to hop on shows like this. And, sometimes you just need like a 2-day palate cleanse, 3-day palate cleanse, and you feel rejuvenated. But it was a really nice holiday.
I need a way bigger palate cleanse in like 2 or 3 days.
I understand that. That's the beauty of doing what you love, and working in baseball and doing this is that I really love it. So, when you get a little bit worked out, a little bit exhausted, all you need is a 2-day reset. If I was, I wasn't a great student. If I was doing, calculus, or if I was doing, working in finance, I don't know if I'd have the same work ethic, and I don't think I'd be as excited to come back to work. So I definitely do not take that for granted whatsoever.
That's true. Well, I had a great Christmas. I told Mike not to get me anything. Mike is my husband, by the way. But he was a great husband and he didn't listen. And so he got me a surprise, which, on the last episode, Aram, we
I can't wait for this.
While you grab that, that is the biggest trap that wives, girlfriends will ever give you. My girlfriend does the same thing. My incredible girlfriend Ellie. I know she does. I know she means it too. But I still think deep down, if you don't get something, you're going to be like, "Oh, wow, he didn't get something. He actually listened to something." No. That you really prefer nothing.
Yeah, no.
Legitimately,
be like, "Oh, yeah. You really didn't get me anything." Like,
no, legitimately, I don't actually care. Like, if I want something, most of the time, we have that relationship. If we seriously want something, most of the time we just kind of get it, and it's a thing. Like, it's just so.
That's good.
I am not your prototypical girl. Like, when girls are like, "Oh, I want this handbag," or "I want these shoes," I'm all, don't get me either one of those things. I will, unless it's a pair of like Birkenstocks or something, like it's not me. But no, like 99% of girls are like
it's
that.
A bluff.
It's
a scary bluff.
But my husband, we've been married for, 11 years now. Oh. And we've been together for like 15. So legitimately he knows that when I say that I don't actually want anything, like it's don't give me anything. But last week I showed off these Leaf trading cards, right? So they do like random runs of random things. So Mattress Mac was the one, but he got me a baseball pack from Leaf.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
And so it includes 4 autograph cards.
Is that
plus
little
one
box action?
Yeah.
Wow.
1 graded auto or 1 of 1 pre-production. So I opened this up and I'm like, what am I going to get? I don't know what I'm going to get. And I was very excited. And Aram, I actually wanted to discuss them with you because I don't actually know any of them. And then looking some of them up, I was like, maybe Aram will know these people. So I got an Oscar Colas.
Yes.
Okay.
Good prospect. White Sox. That guy can hit the ball. Oh, that's really cool. It's a really cool card. Yeah. Colas is good. Really good.
So I was like, I will talk to Aram. He was
he will be up, I think, early with the White Sox.
So I should keep this?
The ball hard. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely keep that. I think he's going to be their starting outfielder by May, June.
Oh, well, delightful. So that was the graded card.
They come graded already. That's pretty awesome.
So, that's like the shtick in the box, apparently. 1 graded auto, 9.5 or better, or 1 of 1 pre-production. So that was my 1 graded auto. And then I got a Benny Montgomery.
Rockies guy. Yeah. So he's high ceiling, high risk, high reward, but definitely hold it because if he figures it out, he's going to be insane. But crazy speed, crazy power, just needs to hit. But I thought he showed some good things at the end of last year.
I like that Aram just has these facts just into his brain.
I don't know if you listened to a couple episodes ago, but we were Peter and Jack just started quizzing me, like maybe put my hands up and we're just asking me like the 12th pick of the 2019 MLB draft, and then just random farm system questions, whatever. Yeah, that's where most of my brain power is wasted. But at least I found a way to utilize it.
I'm so impressed. Like
I'm so jealous.
Well, it's because I love minor league baseball, and I only got into it probably a year and a half ago. Well, I guess when COVID hit, because the hobby card collecting went way
it took off.
COVID. So I love, like, one of my favorite set is Bowman Draft, right? And so it's so fun to see these guys. Like, I mean, you're watching like Drew Gilbert right now. Like Drew Gilbert, he's going to be a superstar, right, for the Astros. I think he's going to be really good. But you're watching his card sell right now for like $150, like really low autograph cards. But then, like, who knows, in 6 to 8 years, but it's fun to follow.
If you could see the trajectory of Yordan Alvarez's cards,
it's
what
sick.
They were, and then just the way the arrow just going up. That's what's cool about it. It's like buying stock in a player, right? And I love that it brings attention to the minors because there's just so much talent out there. There's
Do you listen to the call up, Shelby?
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay.
Let's get an Astros prospect on. One of my good friends, who I actually think is one of the most underrated prospects in baseball, Joey Loperfido. Just had him on the Call Up podcast.
You're going to have to add that to your repertoire now, Shelby.
No,
thank you for the plug, Suzy. Joey's a stud. He actually came into the office in New York. We did the interview and had an unreal year. You're going to look at his numbers in high A and low A last year, and you're going to be like, whoa, why is this guy not being talked about more? I'm telling you, I think he's one of the 10 best prospects in the Astros system. And I think in that just shows you there's so many minor leaguers. That's the cool thing about the cards too. It's like, who's the diamond in the rough that you can scoop up and, make big money off of down the road. For me, guess who it was? It was Jeremy Pena last year.
I got one of those cards last year.
That legitimately has helped pay off my credit card. And I bought a bunch of his cards in February after watching him, a little bit last year before he got hurt. I dug into the video the second Correa was gone, and I'm like, this guy's unbelievable with the glove. He's a crazy athlete. I reached out to a couple friends that have played against him. They all said he was great. And then in spring training, I get a text from Joey Loperfido saying, buy all of the Jeremy Pena stuff. And at that point, I had already spread myself pretty thin buying the cards. And I'm like, damn, if Joey says that, okay. So I bought 2 more. And I have them. I sold half, still have the other half. But I didn't even imagine him being as good as he was this year. Unbelievable. But it just shows you how cool it is because that guy wasn't on any top 100 lists, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's, one of the best young shortstops in baseball. So that's what's so amazing about the sport is there's so many diamonds in the rough.
Okay, so I got 3 more. Hold on. I got 3 more.
I'm ready.
I got Tommy Mace.
Okay. Good right-hander.
What farm system?
Tommy Mace. That's going to be Guardians.
At this point, you could just say anything, Aram, and I'd be like, oh, okay, because I didn't.
I would believe it.
Luis Matos.
Matos, Giants outfielder. Disappointed me a little bit this past year, but still really big upside. A lot of people were paying money for his cards. Tommy Mace is Guardians, by the way.
Okay. He's like, I was correct.
Matos is intriguing. I was a little disappointed with how he did last year, but I still think he could be really good. These are some great autos.
Yeah, I was super excited. So the Tommy Mace is 19 out of 25.
Oh wow.
The Luis Matos is 15 out of 20. And then my last one was, I assume it's Yairo Pomares. Yes.
Giants.
5 out of 75.
Wow. So Pomares, I was really high on going into last year. Didn't have a great year. I still believe in him. So you got 2 Giants outfielders who hopefully bounce back and some really talented other prospects that I think are going to be enjoying the big leagues.
Leaf Valiant.
It's a super cool product.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. So for our audio listeners only, go to the YouTube and check out the box that I got. I held up all of the cards, and they're very, very cool. And shout out to my husband for getting me something actually really cool that I would never actually buy myself. So shout out, good job, Mike.
That's all about.
So, well, like people have heard already, Aram is our super awesome guest, and he is one of the co-founders of the Just Baseball podcast with Jack and Peter. No, Peter's the. I always get Peter and Jack mixed up. I'm very sorry, Peter and Jack, if you ever listen to this. But so tell me, Aram, you guys met in college?
Yeah, so we met in college. Peter was on the sports management side. Jack and I were in journalism school, and Jack and I were going the broadcasting route, and we were doing play-by-play in the summers in the Cape Cod League and, writing whenever we could. And Peter was more on the business side, on the operations side. He was working with the Yankees, doing season ticket sales, doing operations, whatever it was. And then we all graduated in 2020. Jack and I took jobs broadcasting in the minor leagues. Peter was selling tickets. And ironically, of course, the minor league season's canceled, so our job disappears. Peter can't sell tickets during a season where there's nobody allowed in the stadium. So all 3 of our jobs kind of disappeared. And, we were like, all right, I don't know what the future holds, but I want to do something in the meantime. I don't want to just sit here with my hands folded. So we kind of came up with the idea of doing what we felt like was missing in the baseball space, which was just covering it from a more, still doing the traditional things and having the website and the articles and things like that, but also catering to a younger audience, catering to the fans that may be more casual and may want just more information, but then also still being able to keep the super intense I would say advanced fans engaged. And we figured, like, how could we do that? And we thought about the long podcast, shorter clips on TikTok, long form articles on the website, and just kind of built off of that. Reached out to a few other classmates that were stuck in a holding pattern, and they jumped aboard, and we just kind of said, let's have fun with it and see what happens, and if nothing comes of it, we have just something to put on our resume, say, hey, we tried this in the meantime during COVID, and go from there. But it took off, and enough for Peter and I to, kind of put everything on hold and see this all the way through. And Jack, I mean, he's still doing play-by-play in Indianapolis, but he'd probably tell you he spends most of his days doing just baseball stuff, whether it's helping me edit articles for the website, recording with me on the call-up and the Just Baseball show, and everything else that goes into it. And now we've added dozens of writers, video editors, whatever it is, and just really amazing to see how it's all grown. And it all just kind of started with friendship and passion, and I think that's usually the key to a lot of things happening the right way.
So I know you've already heard the story because we've already done this once, but for the other listeners who, weren't in on that. So when I first got into my all-in baseball knowledge, having to try to find all of the baseball podcasts, I found a lot of, how shall I say, older gentlemen podcast for baseball, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I love old white guys. I have one of my own. I was a little tired of listening to older white guys just talking at me all the time. And then so I found y'all's podcast, the Just Baseball podcast, and excuse me, really liked it. But then I listened to one of the episodes where you've told me that apparently it was Jack and Peter.
There's no way it was me. There's absolutely no way. I'd wear it if it was. I'll wear whatever I gotta wear, but that ain't me.
But so one of the episodes I was listening to, they were having an argument about Lil Uzi Vert, and the question was posed: was Lil Uzi Vert the best rapper of all time? And I said, I can't, I'm sorry. And I was yelling at my radio like an old person, because that's how I was listening to the podcast, was through my radio in my car. And I was like, you cannot be the best rapper of all time when there's a Lil in front of your name. Hello? Like,
well, I just want to let you know that, we did this last week, and you put this into my ear on the last week of school, and, I have 11th through 12th graders, and we talked about this last week. It was a hot take. It was a hot take. These kids were probably sitting in my office for an hour. We went through like best male rapper, we went through best female rapper, but these kids were getting fired up.
Did they have the same take that Lil Uzi Vert was one of the best rappers of all time?
You had a couple that said, they were like, oh, yeah. And I was
Stop
like,
it.
no. And then I was like, you can exit door left, exit left, exit office door left. But no, like we took this to the streets, to the high school. It was fun. So thanks for putting that question in my ear for a good time.
But it was cracking me up because I was like, they're boys. They're tiny fetuses that if Lil Uzi Vert is the best rapper of all time, I no longer can listen. I'm done.
Well, I'm glad you stuck with us. I wasn't there to chaperone the hip hop takes. I wasn't there to chaperone the hip hop rap takes. Otherwise, I'd be all over. Because it's funny, actually. That's probably my one of the more like underrated things that people don't know about me is my love for like hip hop and rap. And
definitely,
that was like kind of my escape. I would just put the headphones in and just zone out when baseball.
I can just see 14-year-old Aram with like a hoodie up and just.
Yep. But for me, I was more into old school, or even I would say what really got me into rap would be like Jay-Z, and then like in the hip hop side, Outkast was like one of my favorites.
Yes. Okay. Aram,
Andre 3000.
You're back in the circle, Aram. You're back in the circle.
Absolutely love Andre 3000. So then that kind of got me into it. But honestly, as a kid, Lil Wayne, I know you said a Lil can't be in front of anything, but Lil Wayne is my exception. I like fell in love with Lil Wayne's music when I was a kid, and then just kind of went on from there. But
and that was my pick for the greatest rapper of all time. This could be a hot take. I don't care because he has a line. He literally says, "I don't write shit because I don't got time." And if that doesn't tell you that man is great, then I don't know what does.
I love it. So, but yeah, that is. I loved y'all's.
I appreciate you sticking with us.
You're welcome. Even though they stand by that Lil Uzi Vert and I was like, stop it.
I'll do some recon on that one. I'll find out how we got there.
Well, so in my day job, I'm a photographer, and I deal with a lot of high school seniors. That is my main genre of children that I work with. So a lot of high schoolers, and my reps were calling me Little Suzy Vert for the longest time. And I had heard of Lil Uzi Vert, but I never had put it 2 and 2 together. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
I love
that. I am an idiot.
It's a good nickname. That's pretty good.
So I'm Lil Suzy Vert, and and now I just need to drop bars, and that's I'm like, little did you know that was my secret talent. It's not, but
if you don't record that on video.
When you move back, Shelby, that will be the first in-person podcast for the both of us. Okay, it's just me just dropping bars.
Deal.
Okay?
That's
what it is.
The dome.
But I loved y'all's take on baseball in general, and the fact that all of you guys are different fan bases. I forgive Peter for being a Yankees fan. But you're a Marlins fan? Is that?
I grew up a Marlins fan, so that kind of made me, I think, the most objective possible because I have no horse in any race. And I think it's part of the reason why I fell in love with the minor leagues so much was, I was 8 years old, maybe 9 years old when Miguel Cabrera was traded. And it wasn't just Miguel Cabrera, it was Miguel Cabrera and Dontrelle Willis. And what that does to a kid. I can't tell you how much Miguel Cabrera was my hero. And, my dad explaining to me, I'm like, Dad, why have I not heard of any of the players they got back? He's like, well, these are prospects, and, the hope is that they turn into a Miguel Cabrera. And I'm like, how are they going to turn into a Miguel Cabrera? Obviously they didn't. And the return, and this is the other thing that Peter and Jack always make fun of me for, is that, like, I can remember the prospects in any trade, but the return was Cameron Maybin, Andrew Miller, Burke Baden-Hop, Dallas Traherne, Ruby De La Rosa, and then like one other guy. And needless to say, they all were a disaster for them. Miller ended up having a pretty good career, but whatever it was. And the Marlins had the fire sales of trading, Mike Lowell, and then they traded, Josh Beckett, and they traded all these different guys. But then I watched some of the players that they traded for pan out. Like they traded Anibal Sanchez and Mike Lowell. Josh Beckett and Mike Lowell for Anibal Sanchez and Hanley Ramirez. And I'm like, whoa, that worked out pretty well. So I just kind of started to get into like what makes certain prospects pan out, what makes others not pan out, whatever it is. And then you have Peter, who's just like the Yankees fan, who just big market guy, just has the energy that I can't match, which is great. And then Jack, this like jaded White Sox fan who, honestly, underratedly horrible franchise. I don't think people really – they won in 2005. They haven't done anything otherwise. Me and Jack
we're well-versed in White Sox over here in the AL.
I thought it made for a cool dynamic. And honestly, that wasn't even something that crossed our minds. All we really thought about was, hey, let's have a fresh take for the exact reasons that you alluded to, Suzy, but also like – let's still hit on all of those, points, and let's talk about the hard-hitting topics. But let's have fun while we do it, and see if there's a desire for that. And it seemed like there was. So that's always pretty cool when your idea comes to fruition.
I love Jack being the old grumpy get off my lawn guy. He's my favorite. I really like you, Aram, but Jack and his sarcasm just speak to my soul.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So let's move on to the $315 million elephant in the room. Carlos Correa. I'm so sad, Shelby, that that Mike had to ruin the fun and that you didn't get to be the first one to let me know.
Well, I will say it gave me a little bit of assurance, and it helped my insecurity, because this last week I was like, I would probably be a terrible GM, because I was like, I would not give this guy. Now I feel a little better. I mean, obviously there's no insurance, but then, I was a little heartbroken because it literally said like 3 minutes it had posted, and I immediately screenshot it and sent it to you. And I was like, there's no way. I got it in the bag.
Yeah.
Mike
woke me up for it. And I literally sat straight up and I was like, what the fuck did you just tell me? And he's like, look. And then I see the text from Shelby, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, there's no way. And I thought it was a joke. I thought he was fucking with me. And I was like, that's just mean. How are you gonna wake me up like that? And then realized it wasn't a joke. But it's still not final.
No,
so
and it might not be.
Do we think that the Mets, I don't think he's gonna get his long ass contract. I think the Mets will sign him, but I think the Mets will give him 5 years maybe for a lot less money.
This is something it's pretty unprecedented, right? We've had physicals go weird,
right.
And red flags come up. JD Martinez was a recent one where they had to adjust the structure to the deal with the Red Sox. It was a third of the money at $110 million, but they had to get creative with it. The thing is these contracts are already ridiculous as is. You're already kind of accepting defeat on the back end. When you sign somebody to, a deal that's going to pay them until they're age 39, 40, and 41, you're kind of accepting that they're probably not going to be who they are now at age 40, 41. You're already accepting that defeat. So then when you have extra liability, kind of baked in there through what was, kind of presented in those medicals, you can only take it so far, right? I already think it's ridiculous to pay a guy until he's 41 years old. Now you pay a guy with a plate in his leg until he's 41 years old. That's a little bit more of a sticky situation. And what makes it really interesting to me is, what did the Mets think they were going to see? You have renowned doctors agreeing with renowned doctors. The Giants team doctors ended up with the same takeaway that the Mets doctors have, which is, hey, this is a red flag. I don't think anybody's saying Carlos Correa can't play baseball. I don't think anybody's saying he's not going to be good for the next 5 years, but it's $350 million. That's a lot of money, and you better feel pretty good about your investment. If there's a smallest red flag, I can't fault these owners for, backing out and getting a little bit nervous. I can fault Steve Cohen, because Steve Cohen knew why the deal went through with the Giants. What did he think? That the Giants were just being overly critical of his leg? I don't understand what they thought they were going to see in these physicals. So that's where it gets fascinating. But now that you have two sets of doctors that have come away with the same, the same takeaway, you have to wonder who else is taking a chance on Correa. Are the Twins going to circle back at a lower amount?
That was my question.
The ball is in the Mets' court, and I agree, Suzy. I think they find a way to figure it out. I don't know what it looks like, but I think they find a way.
That was my question, though, because the Twins, obviously he played for the Twins without any, incident for the last season, and the Twins offered him a contract. So when looking into this a little bit more, I was like, how did everybody was not aware of this situation, right?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, digging on Twitter and whatnot, people were saying that apparently, it's due to the injury in September or whatever with the plate where you slid into base or whatever. And the Twins had not done a exhaustive physical on that since they offered him the contract. And if the Twins did, then they would have caught the issue. I'm still very interested in what.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the Twins deal was a 3-year deal initially with opt-outs. So, you're maybe not searching every inch of this dude's body as you are if you sign a 13-year deal, right? So,
well, but what wasn't the Twins offer 10 for $280?
Yeah, so something may have come up once they agreed on that one too.
So
this is kind of my thought. I mean, okay, so I saw something to where, Correa says he doesn't like to attempt to steal bases because he's scared he's going to get hurt, right? Obviously, that's scary. I think now what comes into play, like we're last big guy on the board. I think it kind of goes into, we got to start thinking about what Correa is going to do career-wise, right? Is he going to want to sign one contract and spend his entire career, or does he want to play baseball and win? If he wants to play baseball and win, he's going to sign something smaller. He's going to sign a lot of money, short year, but I don't know. I think after two physicals like this, there's really no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just I tip my cap, Carlos Correa. You gave the Astros some really good years, but thank you for moving on so that we can have Jeremy Pena season. Yeah. Because good Lord, that man shirtless is. Whew.
He's a handsome guy.
He is. That is
not bad to look at. That's for sure.
No, and the fact that like he's posting pictures on his Instagram of like him working out, running up hills, tied to things. I'm like, what is happening right now? Very confused,
and he's good at baseball.
And he's good at baseball. So if the baseball career doesn't work out, he can just pivot to male modeling, like Zach Wilson.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pena, Chippendale.
Oh my! He would just be selling out all of the Magic Mike cabaret shows. Cabaret shows. That's not a thing. I obviously frequent all of the male review shows here because I called it a cabaret show. Anyways, well, moving on from my obsession with Jeremy Pena, did you know that Jake Myers had a baby? Well, not Jake Myers, but like his wife.
I'm glad
had a baby.
You know what? Yeah, no, I did not see that. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening in the off season.
Everyone's getting married, everyone's having babies, whatnot. So let's hope that maybe, I don't know, it figures it out and Jake Myers comes back and is the Jake Myers of
dad's strength is real.
We saw it with Alex Bregman. It could happen.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Anyway, so let's move on to our way too early season predictions.
I am so excited for this. I'm going to get all the judgment, but I do not care.
Do you see my baseball homework? I have all of the baseball homeworks. All of it.
I have my own person. I didn't want to put it on our Google Doc, our episode Google Doc, so I made my own.
I couldn't make it on the Google Doc. I had to like write it out and like on paper and pen, like an old person, because that's what I am. So, do you want to start, Shelby? Do you want to read out the categories and then we'll take turns?
Absolutely. So here is our categories. So way too early predictions. We have Cy Young, MVP, World Series matchup, Rookie of the Year, Division winners, Best facial hair, which is a top category for me, Best bullpen, Best starting rotation, the Shut It Down award for our top closer, and then we have some sleeper picks by position, including starting pitchers and relievers. So a lot of good things to talk about. I'm sure there's going to be a couple hot topics here.
I was not aware that we were doing World Series predictions, so thank you for throwing that one out there. I'm going to
got to keep you on your toes.
I'm going to scurry and scurry and make one. Little Susie Vert, I'm on it. I'm ready for this. So, Aram, since you are our esteemed guest, do you want to start off with our Cy Young, NL, and AL?
Yeah. So, I want to kind of go a little bit more dark horse. Don't want to state the obvious. I do think Sandy Alcantara on the National League side is just too consistent, but I don't know if he's going to be able to match quite what he did in the ERA or even innings department. 228 innings is crazy last year. I think it's going to be another guy from the NL East, and I think it's going to be Spencer Strider in the National League. Strider is maybe one of the best rookie pitchers this past year that I can remember in a long time. Struck out nearly 14 batters per nine in 131 innings, one of the best fastballs that you're going to see. Slider is nasty. And if it weren't for a little oblique injury at the end of the year, I think we would have saw him really, dominate in the playoffs as well. He just wasn't right. 2.67 ERA as a rookie is insane. And I think he's going to keep building off of that. The injury was an oblique, so I'm not really worried about the arm there. I think he's going to be really, 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 really good for a very, very, very long time. On the American League side is where things are tougher. I was struggling a little bit to figure out who I think could be the guy on the American League side. And I'm going to go with an unpopular pick. And I think Garrett Cole bounces. I say bounces back as if he didn't have a phenomenal year last year. But I think he kind of gets back to his form and figures out a way to limit the long ball. Because that was really the only thing that killed him last year was the home runs. But he threw 200 innings of 3.5 ERA baseball, but also struck out a ton of batters, didn't walk a ton of guys, showed up in the big games. You look at the underlying stats, they're all really good. I think Cole bounces back. Also, that whole rotation is so good. I know you don't want to hear it. It's really good, but I think a lot of the pressure is off of him too, and he can kind of just get back to just pitching and not having to carry that whole rotation as he did towards the end of the year last year. I'm excited to see how Cole kind of builds off of his last season and a strong finish.
Well, if the Goldilocks balls are no longer in play, I think maybe that solves.
Exactly. He was getting friendly fire there. They were trying to give him for the Yankees, but it was hurting him.
So I mean, there's my hot take. That I'm dropping that bar. How's that, Shelby? That's what I'm dropping.
Oh no, I already quoted something from Twitter earlier. It was like, how many home runs is Aaron Judge going to hit this year? Depends on what Manfred's gonna give him.
For reference, real quick. Home run to fly ball rate, which is the percentage of fly balls that leave the yard, which is, a good way of seeing how susceptible somebody is to giving up home runs. Number one in Major League Baseball, the worst home run to fly ball rate at 17% was German Marquez, who pitches on the moon in Colorado.
Right.
Number two was Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole has no business being up there. And, maybe it was a little bit of the baseball situation there. Maybe he's got a little bit to figure out pitching-wise in terms of just, how he uses his fastball, but I don't imagine Garrett Cole to have the second highest home run to fly ball rate in the big leagues next year.
Yeah. I feel like Garrett Cole is just like, bro, Judge, what's going on here? Can you help me out here? Like, but higher because, Kermit. Anyways.
Well, and Aram, I'm going to talk about your pick. We'll get into more of the Yankee stuff a little bit, but I think the big thing for Garrett Cole is his fight or flight response, right? He's got this massive contract. He hasn't lived up to expectations. I mean, Yankees fans are ruthless. Mm-hmm. But if he can come back, I mean, he is one of the best on the bumps,
Yeah, well, and I think Aram hit it on the head with the whole, he no longer has to not carry the team, but he no longer has to be that, like, quote unquote ace of the staff because he's got that help with Carlos Rodon now. And side note, Carlos Rodon without a beard is just, it's very unaesthetically pleasing. With the hair, he reminds me of some sort of cartoon character, and I can't
be worse than Joey Gallo without a beard. So
yeah, that's true. So, anyways, Shelby, who are your picks?
So my NL guy, I great pitcher, but I'm looking for a big year for him. I'm gonna go with Corbin Burns from the Brewers. He was second in Ks last year, 8th in WHIP. I think he's got a lot of upside, so I'm hoping he has a big year this year. That's my NL pick.
Okay. I also liked Corbin Burns because he was on my fantasy league. That's how you know if I like a guy or not, is if I pick him for my fantasy team. So Corbin Burns was one of mine. For my NL, it was a toss-up between Max Fried and Julio Urias. And I think I went with Julio Urias. Like, that was like my coin toss. The fact that he just looks effortless. I don't know why I made that a 3-syllable word. Effortless in just throwing like 100 miles an hour. I'm all, sir, that you were throwing that with as much effort as I'm throwing a freaking like sock into a laundry basket. I don't understand how it is. Like, apparently I don't understand physics. But I mean, his whip was .96 last year, and that's just dumb. That's just a dumb whip. And so that's my pick for the NL Cy Young. And then my AL Cy Young, I had to represent, and I had to go with Fromber. I think he, now that he is not the two, he is the ace. I think Fromber steps up and will just get all of the zenness. That is the word that I'm looking for, out, and he will. I think he's going to break his quality start streak. That's that. There's my other hot take.
I like that pick. No, I like that pick.
All the hot takes for this episode.
I went my AL guy. So I actually just changed it probably 30 minutes ago, right before we started. I ended up going with DeGrom. Now, I know that's like a very popular pick, but he wasn't my first pick. But I ended up picking DeGrom because DeGrom now is in the vicinity of the best medical center in the entire world, right? I mean, he has the support. He's now in a division that he's going to win. He's probably going to win 20 games this year if he stays healthy with the addition of Eovaldi. I think DeGrom's he's gonna drop some sick numbers this year.
I also think pitching in an enclosed park is going to help him exponentially. Him and Eovaldi, which kind of hurts to say. But I think the fact that he will not be pitching outdoors, it will just. I mean, all of that to say that, the Rangers are going to come in third, but that's okay. That's okay. They're making moves. They are making moves. I like it. So Jacob DeGrom is your AL Cy Young? Okay.
Yeah, DeGrom's going to be my AL pick. Got to stay healthy, though. If he doesn't stay healthy, we can just go ahead and throw that pick down the toilet really quick.
That's fair. Aram, who was your AL guy?
So for the AL, I had Garrett Cole.
You had Cole.
Oh, that's right. Apparently, my Bloody Mary was a little stronger than I had anticipated because I don't remember 2 seconds ago. You can just call me Dory from now on. So do you want to do the MVP, Shelby, next?
Yeah, let's go to MVP.
Okay.
Suzy, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Oh, fine. Okay, so my AL MVP was the guy who I thought should have been MVP this year, a.k.a. Shohei Ohtani. Okay, because he is a motherfucking unicorn and has the numbers that are just absolutely ridiculous for pitching and hitting, and he is a unicorn. So until they make a Shohei Ohtani, you're a unicorn award, he gets the MVP for the AL. And my NL, I had a hard time picking between Nolan Arenado and Manny Machado. So I'm going to give them co-MVPs because that's what I can do because I'm the boss of the show. And Nolan Arenado and Manny Machado, you are co-MVPs of the NL. That's what I say.
Aram, what you got?
I like the Machado pick a lot because he is kind of secretly in a contract here. He's going to opt out after this year and hit the open market. And I think he's going to really – not that he hasn't been playing hard and playing well. He was phenomenal last year, one of the best players in the game last year. But, I think there's a little extra incentive to steal a few extra bags, to run a little bit harder down the line. I mean, we saw what Dansby Swanson just did in his contract here. Play a little bit better defense, even though he's been great in that department too. But just for the full 162, kick it into gear a little bit more is what we always see in those contract years. So I'm going to be right with you on that one, Suzy. I think Manny Machado gets it done this year. I love what I saw from him last season. I think he was, I believe, first in the National League in FWAR at 7.4. And again, I think he's gonna put it over the top next year. That lineup is even better. He's going to drive in a lot of runs. He has a lot of protection there with Tatis back, now Soto in the fold, like that team. And of course, you got Bogarts involved there too. That's maybe the only thing is similar to the Arenado situation is you got your own teammates kind of eating into your own votes and, eating into your most valuable player status. And then in the American League, I think you have to take Shohei Ohtani every single year as long as he's healthy. And the only way that Ohtani doesn't win the MVP is if some dude hit 60 home runs. And last year, some dude hit 60 home runs and played great center field, and they still were debating it, right? So this guy has Aaron Judge has one of the best seasons we've seen in the modern era. And it was still like, ooh, but what about Ohtani? So unless somebody does that again, and I think Judge is going to be great, but I don't think he hits 62 and hits 311 and plays good defense in center and also steals 16 bags. I don't see anybody being able to keep up with Ohtani. And by the way, if you look at Ohtani's offensive numbers in the second half, they're a joke. He's insane. So I'm going to go Machado and Ohtani.
Shelby, what you got?
I love being on the show. You want to know why? I also picked Manny Machado. I think you want to know, but I do think our competitor for Ohtani is going to be a little different this year. Again, depending on health, and I think that's what we go along. I think some of these superstars go so hard, and they put so much into this game, takes a toll on their body. But I think his competitor is Mike Trout this year. Mike Trout sneakily hit 40 bombs last year.
Yeah, in what 115 games?
Yeah,
what was it? 119
it was 119.
Games?
Yeah, 119 hit 119 games. He hit 283 with 40 bombs. I mean, that's thick. Like
that's almost on pace for 60.
Yeah,
so there you go.
That's thick.
Yeah, with the moves that the Angels are making, I think I tweeted out, I'm like, are the Angels actually going to be good this year? With the caveat of Rendon and Trout being healthy.
Every year.
Well, the first 15 games they'll be really good, and then they'll just fall off a cliff apparently.
Yeah.
So, okay, what was our third category, Shelby?
It was World Series matchup.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was. You just snuck that one just right on in. So
no, it's on the notes. It's on the notes, to be fair. And let me go get another drink before we get into this.
I like that she's gonna run out now because, ma'am, these were the notes that we had. Okay, these were the notes. There was no World Series. There was none. So, I'm like, now I just have to like randomly throw out. No, I mean it's not random because we all know that the AL like runs through Houston. So, it's gonna be.
Let's save this one because with everything happening, I think we save it to the end.
We save it. Okay, fine.
Rookie of the year, which my note on here is hard to predict. I gotta wait on the 40-man. But I'm going to put my rookie of the year. He's going to be in my sleeper pick, actually.
Oh, it's going to be one in the same? Okay, so who you got? Oh, you're on mute, Shelby.
I'm going to go with Jake McCarthy with the Diamondbacks.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go Jake McCarthy. I think he had like 30 at-bats this year. He didn't have very many. The Diamondbacks are going to be scary.
Diamondbacks are sneaky good. They've got a good young depth players out there, position players out there. And funnily enough, my pick for Rookie of the Year was also on the Diamondbacks because I picked Corbin Carroll.
There you go.
So Corbin Carroll.
I am wrong, by the way. I was looking at McCarthy's 2021 numbers, so ignore me. He can't be a rookie. He's good though. I like him.
So he's your sleeper pick then. He's your sleeper position player pick. So Corbin Carroll is my Rookie of the Year nod for the NL for the Diamondbacks. I want to say that he is like the fourth fastest in the league or something. Something
flies.
Stupid. Like
he flies. He might be the fastest dude in the league. If you give him enough sprint opportunities, I think he might have the number one sprint speed. He's our number one prospect in baseball at Just Baseball. So that's easily a a Rookie of the Year favorite in the NL, I think. No doubt.
Yeah.
I love that pick.
So that's my NL pick. And then my AL pick, I had to go with everyone's going to call me a homer, but that's okay. Because I went with baby JV, Hunter Brown, because I think he's going to have a breakout. He's going to have a breakout season. He's going to have a breakout season. And if people didn't know his name, they will this season. So that's my NL pick and my AL pick. Corbin Carroll, Hunter Brown.
I like both. I really like what I saw from Brown last year. He looks ready to go. And for a good team with a good defense behind him. So he should be a contender, right out of the gate. On the National League side, for me, I'm going to go Corbin Carroll's probably my, gun to my head, my choice. But a guy that I think could kind of be this year's, minus the playoff and World Series MVP side of things, but could be this year's Jeremy Pena to a degree, is Ezequiel Tovar with the Rockies. So Tovar is one of the best defensive shortstops I've seen in the minor leagues. Can run, can hit, and also is just got all of the intangibles as well. He's playing in Colorado, but he's going to put up good offensive numbers. So that's right there. He's going to steal some bases, and he's going to play phenomenal defense at shortstop. I think if Carroll is slow out of the gate or something happens, I think that Tovar could put together a really nice resume. On the American League side, Gunnar Henderson, what this kid did in 30-something games last year was remarkable. I lost sleep trying to figure out who my number one prospect was going to be, Corbin Carroll or Gunnar Henderson. I went with Carroll, but Gunnar is so good. Showed it last year, got a taste. I think he's going to come right back and be a force for them this coming season. Power, speed, defense, he does it all. I think he's going to put up a really good year.
I like it. I'm excited about these picks. Like I was thinking, I'm like, are they way too early or are they just right? We're gonna call them Goldilocks picks. That's what we're gonna call them, Shelby.
If I don't get any of these right, I'm gonna quit the podcast and then
no, you're not.
I'm gonna move to Colorado to where. No, actually, you know what? I might move to like Oakland because then I'll just have to upload again.
Okay, so we have, rookie. So we have Rookie of the Year, and then now we have moved on to division winners. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I want you guys to look at my baseball homework, okay? That I had to write down old school style.
Huh.
Okay. Oh, with pen and paper. So for our audio only listeners, I did hold up my pen to paper division. I literally had to, from memory, have to write down who was in each division. And funnily enough, most of the time, I went by best to worst in the division. So
why did you use the spiral stuff on the side of your paper? I'm very bothered by that. You left the stuff on the side. Why? Why would you do that?
Because apparently I'm not as OCD as you are, Shelby.
You're a serial killer. Only serial killers do that.
I mean, most serial killers are serial killers and not get caught because they don't talk about it, Shelby. But thanks for, throwing my shit out there. I appreciate you. Jeez, Shelby. Anyways, so for my AL East division winner, I'm moving on. Law enforcement, if you're listening to this, don't. I had to decide between the Orioles and the Jays because obviously I couldn't say the Yankees because they didn't upgrade their offense at all. So is it the Orioles or the Jays? That's what I need to know. Should I flip a coin? I think it's the Jays. I'm going to go with the Jays because they added Dalton Varsho. And that outfield of Varsho and Springer and Kiermaier, basically no balls are going to drop. I mean, no. Unless you're a 12-year-old boy. But no balls are going to drop in the outfield. Just a vacuum out there. So I'm going to go with Jays. That's what I'm going to go with. AL
like
East,
that.
Blue Jays.
I like it. That's my pick too. The outfield defensively, like you said, is going to be elite. Dalton Varsho adds 27 to 30 home run power to that offense with elite defense. I think they're going to have a better Vlad Guerrero, who was good last year, but I think he can be great, and he wasn't great last year. I don't think that Jose Barrios can be worse. So I think, he's going to be a little bit better next year. And I really like their other pieces. Like, I think they've had a really good offseason overall. And I agree. The Yankees, I think their rotation could be the best in baseball potentially, but they really just ran it back with the same offense for the most part, just more expensive. And they've got too many holes and question marks that I think the Jays could sneak by and over the course of 162 be the team that takes the division. That said, I don't want to run into the Yankees in the playoffs with that pitching. I definitely don't.
It's true. Who you got, Shelby?
My pick was also the Jays. They were only 7 games behind. This last year. And then they just got better.
So, okay, well, I feel like we all can't be this wrong all the time. So I feel like we're going to get some of these right. I like it. So, AL Central, I have the Guardians.
Yeah, that one to me, right? I think is almost like a no-brainer. Yeah. Guardians.
All right, but here's the only question I have about the Guardians, and it's not a bad question. Is Jose Ramirez the best hitter in baseball?
He can be.
Sneakily, maybe.
I love Jose Ramirez.
That's an MVP candidate too. Yeah. He didn't have the best year. Like, he didn't play to the best of his abilities. I think he was banged up, and they won 92 games. Right? Like, this team is, and they've got so many prospects coming up that could make an impact too. I think they run away with it. They did last year. I think they run away with it again.
Shout out to my Asian brother, Stephen Kwan. I love the Asians in the game, and Stephen Kwan just like running out all of the things in left field. So I had to give it to the Guardians, even though everyone's like, "Oh, the White Sox." No, I'm sorry, White Sox. Like, and when Andrew Benintendi is your largest contract ever in the history of contracts, I'm sorry, you can't. Nope, done. So Guardians it is. And the fact that they just added Josh Bell.
Yep.
Just they needed a bigger bat, right? Mm-hmm. Like they needed some thump in that lineup, and I think with some help, they will put a hurting on that AL Central, because I'm sorry, Tigers, Royals, and Twins. It's not
Cleveland. Cleveland's actually one of my teams to watch this year, so I'll watch a little bit more. I'm excited. About the only reason I watch the Royals is for MJ Melendez and Bobby Witt Jr.
I like
MJ's the man.
I like Vinny Pasquantino.
Big MJ fan.
Oh, Vinny's awesome too. But MJ Melendez, awesome dude, great player, unbelievable story. Given that he hit like 180 his first pro year, and then hit 40 home runs after the COVID break. He's a special talent, really good dude. I think he's going to be a force. The Royals are going to be a pesky team. I can tell you that. Their pitching stinks, but they're going to be a pesky team. That's a fun ball club. I agree.
Side note on the Guardians, Aram, have you gotten your Cal Quantrill tattoo yet?
Not yet, no. Not yet, no.
Would you like to explain to the listeners why I'm asking you about Cal Quantrill and the tattoo?
I'm ready for this.
Yeah, so Peter, his big thing is betting, and he's a very, very good sports bettor, and he gives out picks and does really well with it. And he tries to find, little gaps in the system, right? Like players that Vegas, for whatever reason, undervalues. And Cal Quantrill was one that I thought for very good reason was undervalued because he wasn't that good. None of his pitches were that good. Didn't throw that hard. Was walking a lot of guys at the time. And Peter kept betting on this guy, and he kept winning. And I got so tired of hearing about Cal Quantrill and Peter talking about how good he was. I was like, dude, this guy's not good. And we went at it on the podcast one day, and I got ahead of myself, and I said, hey, if he has an ERA below 3.5, which is such a low bar, if he has an ERA below 3.5, I'll get a tattoo. He was down to the wire. Like, final start had 3.48, and then he pitched well, got it down to a 3.42. so I got to get a tattoo. We end up getting Cal Quantrill on the podcast too, and we tell Cal the story, and he was laughing. He thought it was funny. I asked him what I should get. He said, keep it small. You know, it doesn't need to be anything too big. Just get my expected ERA. Cause he's a big, like, smart dude. He went to Stanford, and I think he was like an engineering major. So but he also is like making fun of the advanced analytics that don't like him. And he said, like, put my XERA, you know, on your hip or something like that. So I got hip surgery, you know, about 4 months ago. I've got some scars there. I might put his number or his XERA in the middle of those scars and just say, all right, that part of my body's gone to shit. Just don't even need to look at that part of my body.
Now, did Peter say that he was getting a Cal Quantrill tattoo with you?
I think that was him trying to make me feel better. I don't think he'll do it.
I think he needs.
That's the thing is, I'm not a tattoo guy. I have 0 tattoos. Jack and Peter have tattoos. I would have died happily never getting a tattoo. I don't know why I even offered that. No idea why.
I think Peter needs to get an actual picture of Cal Quantrill somewhere on his body.
I agree.
As a
he's the number 1 Cal Quantrill fan.
He is. So
isn't that his Twitter name? Like Cal Quantrill's number 1 fan? At one point, was it?
It might have been for a little period. He would tweet his face zoomed in like every 5th day.
Yeah, it's Cal Quantrill Day. Yeah,
it was Cal Quantrill Day every 5th day, and
the auto
couldn't take it anymore.
It's got to be the auto. That's what you got to get tattooed. You got to get the auto tattooed.
The auto right on the hip.
The auto. I mean, I think that's pretty solid.
That's awesome. Aram's like, I hate everybody. Stop talking about Cal Quantrill. Okay, so
he was a nice guy too. Really good dude.
But no, that